Welcome to the Pro Cheerleading Podcast, hosted by Mhkeeba
and Brittany, two former NFL cheerleaders discussing hot topics in the pro cheerleading industry
and revealing the truth behind the Poms.
Welcome to the Pro Cheerleading Podcast. We have a special guest with us today.
Yes, we do. Okay, I'm building suspense. So, everybody, this is one of our dear friends as part of the Pedestrian crew, Lindsey. We don't give you her last name unless you really want to.
It's a cool last name.
I'll stay anonymous.
Okay. But Lindsey danced with us on the Seahawks cheerleading team for 4 years. We met, obviously, her rookie year.
But right? That was my year off.
Off the time. That's okay, that year. But your rookie year is like the Super Bowl year, so we'll have some extra juicy tidbits from that year because that was a very special year for you. But we brought her on this episode because it's called Where Are You Now? And Lindsey is like my EDM dance music diva. And I was like, we have to find a song title that like fits the genre. So did we do good?
Yes.
You do like it? Okay.
It's a good song.
It's a good But we're talking about life after pro cheerleading, like how you transition, that first year off, and because you're so busy during the season, what you finally have time for in terms of a life, right? Do you have a life now?
I do. It's crazy. Congratulations. You forget, like, what other things you're interested in until, you're no longer practicing two times a week, dancing games every week.
Exactly. It's taxing. And this is basically both of your first years in retirement, essentially.
This is year two for me. I retired same year as you.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's kind of.
It feels like. Does it feel like it was a long time ago?
It does. It totally does. I mean, there's in some ways it feels like it happened like yesterday.
Right.
But then I'm like, oh my gosh, that was a lifetime ago that I was doing
cheer
all
years.
that.
Yeah, it does fly by.
It was.
Sure.
Yeah.
But you're a seamstress, a very talented one. You made your wedding dress.
You're so sweet.
I love your wedding dress.
And all of her
so
audition
cool.
tops, like
That always stood out to me.
That was one of the things that I definitely put on the back burner for a long time because I mean, when you're practicing after work, like when are you going to have time to make things? So I would always try and make like swimsuits and audition tops.
That's right. Audition tops plus swimsuits for the swimsuit calendar and your wedding dress.
But it was always just like events because I didn't have time to do like little things here and there, and I never did things for other people.
What's this? I'm going to script the name, but the event that you go to for EDM's sake, and you have the cutest outfits that you make for that. What is that called?
It depends on which one.
Which one are you
which
talking
season?
about?
Freak night or
something?
Paradiso.
Paradiso. I
Yes.
used to do Paradiso. Yeah,
And all these cute outfits.
It was so fun. Yeah, I love making costumes. If I could just make costumes, that'd be awesome.
Well, we're gonna get into what you have been making a little later on in the episode since you've retired, but we'd start each show
with Cheer Chat.
And Lindsey actually is a friend of the show. Is that what people call it?
Oh my gosh, I'm like the number one fan. I
love
you guys. Every Wednesday morning on my way to work, I'm like cracking up on the bus.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much.
I love it.
We just came back from an episode.
A little intermission. We forgot to mention in introducing Lindsey that she is a very, very, very loving animal
lover
and owner. Of how many pets?
Only 3 right now, crazily enough.
Okay.
That's the fewest I've had in a long time.
Shoot. But you've mentioned a few times that if you could do anything, it would be like open a rescue.
Oh, I'd
right?
love to do that, yeah.
I mean, so you love animals. You always have. I mean, we do too. We have pets. But
we do.
You're like a rescuer for sure.
The animal whisperer.
Yeah, exactly.
And Roscoe reminded everyone that he's in the building.
Yeah, a sweet doggy. He saw a squirrel outside.
Sure.
Went ape shit. No, it was awesome. We might give you a couple barks while we're editing, just because it was so funny.
That'll be our bleep for any cuss words instead of the censor noise.
Perfect.
You had fun with that censor, didn't you? Oh
right.
My gosh. But we were going to get into Cheer Chat, and we decided to take on the topic of ambassador.
Like a promo squad
/ promo squad for different teams that don't actually dance on game day, but they interact with fans and they're kind of like...
They're the promo girls.
Yeah.
They'll go out teams call them like brand ambassadors, I guess.
Okay.
And so these are women that are probably chosen, I'm assuming they auditioned for the team and then maybe didn't make it, but they liked their look. I mean, I can't tell what's really going on in terms of how they're selected. Right?
Which teams have them? Because not all teams have this situation.
Yeah, so it's the Texans, Patriots,
Redskins.
Yeah. The Saints and then the Ravens.
Right.
Have these promo teams. But there were a couple articles, and we'll post them below, about just because, the NFL cheerleaders have been in the news about how poorly they're treated. And then I guess the promo cheerleaders were more of like hey, we don't have it so great either.
Mm-hmm. Right.
What did you see was it surprising that they're out there mingling with fans and that they might be subjected to more?
I just would be kind of offended on either side. Like, if I was a promo girl, I'd be like, oh, so I don't have the dance ability to be a dancer. And then if you're a dancer, I'd be like, well, I'm just butt ugly, but I dance well. Like, how would that make you feel if you were on either side?
I don't think I would appreciate the experience as much. Like, if that was my goal to be an NFL cheerleader, and they're like, oh, but we really like your look, and, because some of them are, like, selected for their calendars, the swimsuit calendars or the team calendars that they put out on the team. So I think it would be very telling as to how they viewed me if they're selecting me for that and that only.
So I know that at least the Patriots had a separate audition for their promo squad, which was after their regular auditions.
Oh, wow.
I don't know how the other teams do it. If it's like they audition and then if they don't make it and they liked the look that they reach out. I don't know how that works, but...
And what talents would they be judging at that point? Because, it doesn't sound like the promo squads dance or do any performances or any kind. So maybe they're doing more interviews or something where they're trying to see how you interact with...
Oh, that's a very good point.
Yeah, like, what are you evaluating?
Yeah, I would think they would need to be able to have a conversation with people, interact with fans well.
Right.
I don't know, maybe they do interviews. I actually don't know. I can't speak to that, but...
And then it's like, let's test how well you interact with fans, but the fans are, like, groping their butts and acting, like, inappropriate when they're visiting them at suites on game day. Like, could you imagine? Are our fans just, like, really good? Like, are the 12s, like, literally the class...
Well,
of just the ultimate classiest group of fans.
We
like,
also have
not me.
We also have 2 security officers with 2 girls.
True.
Everywhere that we go. I mean, there were some of the promo cheerleaders saying that they didn't have them sometimes and they were on their own.
Well,
I can't imagine.
Like when we were on our own, like doing like promos out in the community.
Like out and about, but that's also a different environment than game day. Like game day, people are drinking and, they're all hyped up and maybe they think that certain things are appropriate that normally wouldn't be appropriate. But
we went to both you guys went to both Super Bowls. Broncos don't have a promo squad, but the Patriots do. So when we were out and about doing promotional things with them, leading up to the Super Bowl, did you guys ask any of them or encounter the promo squad? You did?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I did. I can't remember what morning show it was that I did, but some of the girls from the Patriots team that were there, it was like intermixed. Some of them were promo girls and some of them were cheerleaders. We were just asking them about it.
Well, they're lucky they got to go. Not like that, but I would think that
just take what you need, kind of bare minimum.
Gosh. Well, interesting.
Yeah, there were definitely their promo cheerleaders were there at the Super Bowl.
Interesting.
Yeah, and they were obviously doing the same events that their regular cheerleaders were doing. So,
But how awkward if you're doing an interview and then people are like, "So, how does it feel dancing out there on the field on game day?" And they're like,
I feel like they'd probably have to field all sorts of questions like that, especially if they're going around during the game while the other cheerleaders are performing. They're probably getting those kinds of questions all the time.
Crazy. Yeah. Well, it sounds like, I think it was from another article, and sort of off topic, but the Saints cheerleaders were saying that basically before their game day that they have to sell their quota of calendars or they're not allowed to dance. So I'm they would set
game day.
That'd be my worst nightmare.
Yeah,
I would be so screwed. I would never get to dance. But it was something where they kind of like, based on your performance or whatever, that they're actually selecting who's performing. Like,
that's a lot of pressure.
That is hella
I don't
pressure.
like that. We had kind of a similar thing for the game. We all split up. Sometimes you would take a break, like you weren't doing anything before the game, just relaxing.
That was rare.
Yeah, it really was. There would be like 2 girls relaxing.
That happened to me like once.
Yeah, me too. Or the half of the team was performing, and then the other half was selling calendars, and we were handed like 10. And then 15, then 20. It felt like each year there was more that you had to sell. And it was kind of like you were frowned upon if you came back with any Like, you had to sell them. And
sometimes you'd be out there until, like, the last minute because you didn't want to go back with calendars in
your
hand.
Yes. It was pretty bad. You'd be like, we have to get ready to go out now and perform. So maybe it makes sense that way. Like, you have a specific job, so I don't know, timing-wise.
Or they might be pushing the calendars, these promo girls.
Right.
And, calendar
and are they
not
in
even
it?
In.
Yeah. That is weird.
Well, I mean, shout out to the promo cheerleaders or promo brand ambassadors. I'm curious if they to the extent the NFL teams are going to improve upon how they treat their cheerleaders, and they absolutely should be taking these girls into account as well, right? Because
so true.
They should have security with them. They should be paid for everything that they're doing, and you know, if it's purely based on looks and appeal, it's kind of weird, but there are brand ambassadors. Like, even for alcohol, they might have their promo.
I used to do liquor promotions and stuff.
So it's a pretty girl, you know, and their outfits, I'm assuming, are like the uniforms that the girls are wearing. So maybe it's not like awful. They're doing the same thing that we do, so it's not, you know, minus the dancing, but.
Yeah, but Lindsey says she noticed that they keep it pretty secretive, right? There's only one team that like will outward like say that they have a promo squad.
They like call them something different than the cheerleaders. Yeah, I guess for me, like the reason I did it was for the dancing. I you know, I wouldn't have been interested if it was just appearances.
So you'd turn down the offer?
Totally.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, okay. I wouldn't want to have the time commitment if I wasn't getting to perform.
Yeah, that's very true.
But I know that everyone does it for different reasons. So, you know.
Or if you think you're like, you know, well, I don't want to ruin my chances or relationship, or they see something in me, they see hope in me. And
I was going to say, they probably promise, like, oh, if you work on your dance, be a promo girl for a few years, and then when you audition for their dancing.
Then you kind of feel like you had to if you wanted any opportunity.
Right. Yeah. To be like, no thanks. But I would put a positive spin on it. I'm with you. I'd be like, well, you know what? I'm just going to really push myself and come back next year. You know? Even stronger or whatever. I would probably pass on the promo activities.
Right.
Well, because if you think about it, that's going to take away time from you being able to prepare your dancing experience. If you're going around and doing events and all that type of stuff, it'd be hard to find time to work on your dancing.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yep. Well, I do hope that they are treated well. We just thought we'd bring that up because, you know, should we be embracing them as part of the pro cheerleading family that we're trying to build here?
Yeah, totally.
Like us on Facebook.
Yeah. If you're a promo girl and we're missing anything from that promo girl, that is not what you call it. If you're a brand ambassador or whatever they call them, promo cheerleader, whatever, hit us up. Let us know.
Yeah.
Maybe we're missing something. These are just articles and
limited information out there.
There is. And like, are they on the website? Like, we don't even know. Do they give them any kind of publicity
like
around the fact that they
and stuff?
Yeah.
That'd be interesting to find out.
We're curious, so let us know. Now we get to interview Lindsey. I'm so excited. Hi. Tell us about yourself. Like, you are such a phenomenal dancer. Like, you can do
so sweet
pirouettes
In a puddle.
We are going to break that down. Lindsey, okay, we've traveled together. We've had so much amazing fun. And this girl is literally a freak of nature. She can just bust out of nowhere in like going out club wear and just do a quadruple turn, not even the triple, right? Like
she seeks it out, okay? It's like, someone threw up and we're mopping it up and now it's like a wet floor that they have a sign that says like, you know, floor is wet, stay away. And she's like, I got this. Boom, boom, prep, turn.
And she doesn't fall and bust her ass.
She doesn't.
So you are just a marvel, I swear. So clearly you need to break down your dance background to be able to do stuff like that.
I also just love to make people laugh. So even if it means falling on my ass in a puddle in the club, I will do it.
Hasn't happened yet. That would be the day.
Yeah. But yes, I come from a more technical background. I grew up doing ballet and tap and jazz.
Nothing Mhkeeba and I know about. No, I'm kidding. No, that's me.
It's true.
Yeah, none of that for me.
So, I mean, I was much more of like a studio dancer. All through high school, I competed and I did like recitals, that kind of stuff. And I never thought that I would be dancing with pom-poms. Like, that was not
Was that
something I
foreign
ever...
for you?
So foreign. It was so... And dancing with your hair down, that was like
Another
thing that drove me crazy. I hated having my hair down.
Always in a bun.
Always in a bun or in a ponytail. We never wore our hair down.
So in high school, did you kind of, not shade the cheerleaders, but were you like, I would never do that? Because that's how I was. I was like, I would never be a cheerleader for high school. Like, I thought they were kind of lame. Well, they are for my school, but...
Some schools are good. But,
yeah, right. But mine was not.
You know, my senior year, we started a dance team.
Cool.
Separate from the cheer squad. And we actually had a former Sea Gal who coached.
That is so cool.
And so that's kind of like where I first got into it. Mm-hmm. But I mean, like, even that was it was just...
What was the style? Was it like Poms?
It was very Sea Gal style. Oh, you know, it was very Sea Gal style. Fun. Yeah. Which I liked. I liked it a lot. It was a good time. I still kind of turned my nose up at it a little just because, you know, I was still like in the thick of my competition days and I thought I was going to go to Broadway and all that.
Heck yeah, I can see it.
But yeah, then I went to college and we didn't really have a dance program. Like, I taught our dance classes through our school.
When you were in college?
Yeah, like students taught.
So where'd you go to school?
WSU.
Okay.
Yeah. So I taught...
Washington State
University.
University.
Go Cougs. So I taught a couple classes, like I think it was my sophomore through senior year. And so we just didn't really have anywhere for me to take class.
Got you.
So end of my freshman year, I tried out for the dance team, which was also a separate entity from the WSU cheer team.
Got it.
Oh, okay.
We both had pom-poms. We both did the chants, I guess, together, but we didn't really...
You did the what together?
The cheers. They, you know.
I thought you said the chants. I was like, what happens at the chants?
They were kind of chants.
Okay,
you know?
chants,
yeah.
not chants. Like
no.
What?
With a T.
Okay.
We'd join in and we'd like rally a little, but we didn't do the stunting. We didn't hold up the signs.
Got it.
They didn't do any dancing at
all.
all.
How long had they been around? Were they pretty new when you started?
The cheer squad?
Yeah, the Crimson Girls.
Oh, the Crimson Girls. Yeah, they started I think in the early 2000s. So they've been around for like a few years by the time that I was there.
Got it.
And yeah, so we were like strictly dancing and it was like intense. I mean, we went and did UDA and US. I think it's. Is it
USC?
The dance
UDA was one of them. I can't remember the other one.
I did UDA too.
Oh, it was USA, maybe.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I can't remember. I always did UDA, but they've done different ones since I've left.
I did UDA too.
But yeah, we always competed. We either did hip hop or jazz. I mean, it was like a serious thing. We
Crimson
practiced
Girls
twice
were
a
good.
week.
I remember, didn't they
and
win?
They've gotten even better since
Really?
I left. They've gotten way more technical, and I love it, though. It's awesome.
That's so cool.
That is cool.
But yeah.
And they have a few that have obviously become Seattle Seahawks cheerleaders and
yeah, there's a
you know,
lot of them
Portland
now.
Dancers, and so how did you view like cheerleaders versus dancers? So did the cheerleaders just not dance, or was it kind of
they really didn't. Did
they not know how, or
and
was
they
it
honestly
like they didn't do it?
They only recently were starting to be allowed to stunt again. There was like this huge rule for a while, just at the school.
Because they were getting hurt.
Yeah, I think there was like injuries, and so my freshman or my sophomore year, the first year I danced, they were barely lifting them. They had their signs and they had their cheers.
Like they would be able to do with me. Okay, little jump. Okay, down.
No, but I mean, they were like doing the most basic stunts because they really didn't want people to get hurt. But now I know that they actually compete too. They didn't compete the whole time I was there.
Wow.
Okay. They've started doing nationals now too, and they're doing a lot more, I think, because they've built that reputation back up.
Got you.
Yeah.
So you performed football games and basketball games, or
and men's and women's basketball, and we did women's volleyball.
Oh,
it was like all year round, basically.
Yeah, that's a big commitment.
Yeah.
That's really true.
Yeah, we went back to school a week early and had like intensive practices. We usually did like some kind of dance camp. It was usually at Eastern. Is that the one in Ellensburg? Or Central. Yeah, we usually had like a dance camp at Central. It was intense. Yeah.
It sounds like it.
And we practiced twice a week. They weren't as long as Sea Gal practices. They were usually like 2 hours, but...
Oh.
Do you think they kind of had like a look standard too? Or was it, I mean, this, not to sound mean, but like, did anybody with like, were they more dance focused or looks or both?
Much more dance focused.
Okay.
I mean, I think there was still that standard, you know, like I don't know, we all learned how to like draw our abs in and stuff.
What? Draw your abs in?
Oh yeah, dude, I used to draw my abs in.
What?
I didn't do it on Sea Gals. with like this contouring powder stuff. I don't know. I like learned from one of the older girls. So yeah, I used to like shade in your abs a little bit. We Sally Hansen.
Yeah.
Sally Hansen like all over. Because I mean, who's tan in Pullman?
Yeah. No tanning salons, huh?
There were some, and we did get
no
like
sponsor. Or you did?
We got a sponsor, but I mean, we were broke college students.
Right.
I only got spray tans like when I absolutely needed them for like a party.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So I was like Sally Hansen day and night.
Yeah.
It was nasty.
Painting in the abs.
Yeah, we like shaded in our abs. But yeah, I mean, like we learned how to do makeup. We had a specific like lip color that we wore.
You did? What was it? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
It was red.
Yeah, it was like a red. Cause it was called like satin Cabernet. It was horrible because it was like the kind that dries.
Oh,
and it's like really crusty.
Was it like a liquid matte? You know, like okay.
Oh, those are terrible. I
would think kind of are.
I know they're so dry, but we kind of had like we didn't have earrings. We had to wear clear crystal earrings. But yeah, other than that, it was like you could wear your hair curly or straight.
And
for a while, you were supposed to have your hair down. I, for a while, did like the little poof thing because that was
right.
The thing.
Oh, I remember that. I was trying so hard to get that poof.
Some of the girls did like the little like, what's her name from The Hills? She did like the braid thing. That became really popular. Yeah, so that was a thing for a while. But most of us just wore it down.
But styled.
Yeah.
You know, you couldn't just be out there.
Did you have to take out all your body jewelry?
No, I don't know if they have rules on that now, but when I was there, I had a belly button ring in for all of my pictures.
Yes, to me, I think that's like college. Like I was saying, like that reminds me of like college where it's just like relaxed rules. Did you have any like weight restrictions?
No, we didn't get weighed, and I mean there were lots of different body types on the team.
Right.
I mean, some of the girls were way more athletic, and I mean there just wasn't that kind of pressure.
Right. Because you've like designed your own costumes and stuff, like there is now a trend I think going on in the NFL where they're trying to be more conservative in terms of like our uniforms and what we're wearing, and they're starting to me to look a lot like college cheerleading uniforms. Like the Patriots, they even have signs. There were some pictures in their like photo gallery of the girls lifting up signs that say like,
to me it's the like skirt with the tennis shoes.
Yeah,
that's very like college.
It seems collegiate.
Yeah, totally. Where it's like, no, NFL should like kind of have boots
or something that gives. I just feel like the style is like blending and moving in the wrong direction. Do you have an opinion on that? I should have showed you some photos ahead of time.
I was gonna say I need to see some of these because
hold please. So we just had to break it down real quick and show Lindsey a few of these pictures. And you know, we're one big cheer family. I can't imagine that the Patriots cheerleaders really love it. But you're gonna wear what they tell you to wear. But sorry in advance. We were showing pictures of the Patriots cheerleaders uniforms, and I can't remember the other teams that I was starting to see. I'm like, oh my god, this is a trend that's like picking up, right? But we showed you the very tennis skirt,
grease lightning feel,
and then
turtleneck,
it's
turtleneck,
just, and then the fact that they're wearing skirts with tennis shoes and not boots
and the skirts have those pleats that are very reminiscent of, like you said, even high school
cheer.
Yeah,
that was my high school cheerleading outfit.
It doesn't feel professional, like a professional squad. It feels more collegiate or high school, and I wouldn't feel sexy dancing in that. You know, like I just wouldn't. I wouldn't love it.
I wouldn't either. I mean, and this is something that we keep floating around in terms of topics on our podcast, and I personally, because I've fully believe in sexy, I mean, it's just our right as women to feel how we want to feel in our bodies and in our skin and in what we wear.
It's not for anybody else. It's not for the guys. It's not for any of that. It's for ourselves.
But I'm getting a little, like, I know the NFL has been like in a lot of trouble and there's some things that absolutely need to change, but for it to skew in this direction where it's like we're going to put you in some freaking potato sack kind of outfit just because we don't want to sexualize you or you to be this overly sexual image, and we're going to try to go family friendly. Like, I don't like that crap.
No, I don't like that either.
That's
like saying, like how I guess in middle school when there's pool parties, they make the girls wear like the t-shirts over their swimsuits.
Right.
Like that,
that's not the
that's
answer.
not really going in the right direction either. That's telling you that you need to cover your body up and be ashamed of it.
Exactly. Don't like that.
Don't make yourself look sexy so that then men will leave you alone. Like
right.
That,
we're going the wrong. I mean, I think we're just overdoing it a little bit. We had to ask Lindsey because she obviously designs. I was so curious, like, if you liked it. But...
No, I definitely like the sexier look. I feel like as long as you feel comfortable dancing in it and you aren't gonna pop out of it,
right,
then, you know, skin is fine. Showing skin is fine. It's just like, you just want to feel comfortable. There were definitely some costumes or outfits that I've worn throughout the years where I was like, oh my God.
This is
even the top sometimes. I mean, I had to re-sew our snap-on probably like 20 times.
Yeah.
It wasn't very
secure. Unless you just have like mosquito bites.
It just shouldn't have opened in the front. Let's just say it should have opened in the back. That way, if it popped open, like you'd be
covered.
Yeah,
that's a great point.
See,
that is so
design
true.
tips, guys.
Yeah.
So you had a similar experience in terms of auditioning for Seagulls before you made the squad. Can you talk us through that? Because I remember your first year.
Yeah, you and I danced with each other. You were my partner.
But first, what, like, from college, how did you hear about Seagulls? And, like, what were you like, oh, I want to do that next, or try it?
Well, one of our friends on the squad that was a Seagull, Laura. Hello, Laura. Hey. She was a Crimson Girl with me, and so I knew her in college. Okay. And then she's a year older than me, so she tried out for Seagulls after she graduated and made the team, and that's kind of what got my attention. I was like, oh, that looks like a lot of fun. There's something after college, you know? And so I started to audition right after I graduated.
Okay.
And I didn't make it the first 2 years, and I did the third year, and
she kept making it to finals.
I made it.
Stood out. That's what I'm saying.
I
Your
kept making it to
outfits
finals.
And everything.
Yeah, I made my little tops. I tried really hard. I went to like all the workshops. I even did the intensive workshop. And,
did you? What was that like? Did you get any?
It was
specific enough feedback, or was it like?
I did it twice actually, because I really wanted to make that team.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I did it.
How much was it?
Second year. It was like $100.
Okay.
Yeah, it was $100, and I think it was maybe 2 hours. I can't remember because it was longer.
Okay.
There was a session where you learned to dance and you got like individual feedback and everything.
And you killed it and nailed it. So what did they say?
Right.
Like, you're right. Go ahead.
And then there was like a portion where they bring in a former Seagull or a current Seagull, and they talk about the look and the makeup and like how you should appear when you're auditioning. And they give you like tips and how to style your hair and how to do your makeup. And
oh my goodness.
What to wear, I guess.
In hindsight, was that accurate?
I mean, thinking of the people that they chose to come in and represent like what you should have looked like, yes, it was.
Okay. Did you find the intensive helpful at all? Or were you like, did you feel like you made it for some other factor? Do you know what I mean?
I feel like it was definitely helpful. I probably didn't need to do it 2 years in a row, but I was like really trying to.
No, you want to put your face out there.
You know, I was trying to prove that I wanted it and I was serious about it.
Yep.
So I think it was definitely worth it because, I mean, that gets your face out there for sure. They'll remember you at auditions if you were in that small of a group because I think there may be like 10 or so girls.
Wow,
yeah, it was
really
small.
So we were, you know, when you see kind of like the hopefuls, because I mean, I think it makes sense when I think about like people who are auditioning and doing it over and over again, and then like the wider pool who might be trying. Were there any people inside of the intensive workshops where it's just kind of like, oh man, they really don't have any hope? I sound like so weird for saying that, but like I'm just fascinated by people like charging money to kind of give critique and try to just
without them basically saying this isn't the program for you.
Right. Yeah. Well,
you know?
I honestly was probably so focused on me that I don't remember who else was in those with me. But to kind of speak to that, thinking of some of the girls that like kept getting through to finals that they weren't letting on the team, I was like, you know, at some point you either need to tell them why they're not making it, what they need to change to make it, or you need to kind of inform them that.
Or not let them into finals.
Or
that's
or
always
not
the like last step.
Not let them into finals.
If you're not liking their look,
it's so heartbreaking.
Stop doing it. Stop giving them false hope, you know, because we made it to finals every year, too, that we auditioned. So that's what always brought me back.
Right.
Was like, I made it so close.
Yeah, you're like, I'm almost there. Yeah. Maybe next year.
But I didn't just make it to first round. They're like, you nasty, bye. You know?
Right. But you're right, because of the way that our audition process was structured, where it's just those two people probably giving feedback at first in the first 2 rounds. It's like, if you put me in finals, I'm going to think, like, there's hope before I'm in front of the larger judging panel. It's like, these people might want me.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it just seems really awkward to kind of lead people on. You're leading people on. No,
I know.
Honest feedback, I think, goes a long way. And it's just that you never want to discourage anyone from having their dreams. And if they want to show up 10 times in a row, I mean, so be it. But it's just kind of, it seems like it'd be fair. Like, I don't know if people do try to reach out for contact or for feedback and then they don't get it. But it just seems like it'd be nice if you're seeing somebody over and over again to be able to provide some really honest and helpful feedback. Yeah.
And to touch on something else that you said is how not like it's not self-absorbed, but you really are. It doesn't matter what status you're at. If you've been on the team 1 year, haven't made it, you are so focused on what you have to do. You know, so
you're not thinking about because if you start to look at the other people around you, it's so easy to get intimidated.
It totally is.
You start counting, how many returners are coming back?
And doing the math.
Who are these new girls? Like, you can't think about that. Like, you have to be in your own little bubble.
It is game phase.
But I always kind of thought that when I hadn't made the team, I was like, oh, you know, some of the veterans aren't very welcoming, but that's not their job that day. They're trying to get their spot back. Right. So that's just so kind of like a note to people who are auditioning.
They're probably even more stressed out than newcomers because they've been on the team and it's like, you know not only is it like, they know what they're missing out on, but they also, there's that embarrassment if you don't make it back. And, you know, it's
people have been watching you all
It's even worse for them because people know who they are. And so, I mean, it's definitely not about trying to be cold or unfriendly to people. It's, you know, there's more at stake. It's on the, you know,
it's so competitive. Like, I don't think people, you know, maybe because of the Dallas Cowboy Cheerleaders show, people are getting a taste of what some of the auditions processes are like, but it's like, it is very intense. And I definitely have my blockers on. Like, I wasn't thinking about anyone, like you said. I didn't want to look at somebody do like a triple turn because I was like,
I can't do that.
Because you were like, oh God.
No, but it's just like you really totally have to think about like what you're bringing to the table. And it was just like, I'm bringing what I felt like, you know, was something that you weren't going to get with anybody else. And you have to kind of have that confidence walking in.
Yeah, like you said, every setup was different kind of every year, but there was plenty of years where you watch everybody else go. So you're sitting there and you're watching,
for especially the earlier rounds.
Yeah, are you talking about the first 2 rounds?
Yeah, but then they started doing it where like 2 at a time would go into the studio at BMAC.
Oh,
remember?
yeah.
And I don't think we ever had to go through that process. Yeah. Well, actually, I did my year coming back, but and you see like the director light up for certain girls, and you're like, she got it, and of course they do, or whatever. You know, so it is intimidating just to add to that.
Totally. It's like, it's hard to sit there and watch because you're thinking about what you're doing and like, oh my gosh, I don't want to mess up and how am I going to execute this?
Yeah.
And you're watching the people go and you're like, oh crap, she's better than me. She's better than me.
Yeah.
Was there anything that you could see from, or just for yourself know that you did or didn't do in the prior years in terms of not making it, or that you know that you brought that year that you did where it's like, that's why I made it this time?
Yeah. I think performance-wise, coming from like a studio background, when you perform like a contemporary piece, it's not like smiley and big and, you know, like it's very subtle. And so my facial expressions were always subtle, even through college. I smiled, but it was never like a huge performance.
Got it.
And, you know, I learned kind of throughout that process that that's really important. You know, you need to be able to present to the people that are way back in the 300 levels. So I think that was probably one of the things. I was always too chicken to ask for feedback. And I also did not know how to do my makeup that first year. But, you know, I learned. I remember, you know, I had a veteran kind of help me out with tips for makeup. And I came back and I thought I really brought it the second year, but you know, I didn't make it. So. But I remember the third year, I just felt so much better about my performance.
Good.
And I had a good time when I was out there. It just felt different.
So important. Because you are, like, at least for our process, you are dancing in front of like maybe 8 to 10 judges that are off to the side of you, on either side, to the left and to the right. And then dead in front of you is just this huge video camera because they're doing a live webcast. And so you really have this like awkward setup in terms of who you're even looking at and making eye contact with.
And it's quiet. It's like, oh, bring it on. You get done, you're no clapping.
No clapping.
No like, woohoo,
no
get it, girl.
feedback,
Nothing. Because it's a live broadcast.
That's the other thing, though. My third year, I remember I was like in that interview process because there's interviews before final auditions. And I was like, I need to find out like what I need to do to make this team. So I remember asking our director and being like, where do I look? Because it's very confusing. You know, I was like, do I look in the camera? Do I look at the judges? And she was like, honestly, all three. Like, you should be alternating between all three. And I took that advice, and every year, and actually mostly looked at the judges. I made sure I made eye contact with every single judge.
You have to.
Because it's that way, like, you're connecting with them, you know? Like, you're having, like, that human connection for that, even just a moment. And then they're more likely to remember you.
And that's what makes them smile at you when you're performing. I think when you talk about, like, the point and purpose of cheerleaders, like, yes, you're not going to, like, necessarily connect with fans in the 300 level or 200 level, or even, I mean, shoot, the 100 level, but our job and our role is to kind of, like, engage. And, like, if I'm looking at you, then I'm expecting you to look at me and enjoy what I'm, like, giving to you. And there's, like, this give and take and exchange. And, you know, unless you're trying to, like, pan everybody as you're performing, at least for auditions, you're definitely... If you're zoning out in front of that camera, I can't read well.
I definitely did that the first 2 years because it's just easy to have a spot straightforward to look at. You know, you're less nervous. But then you're not connecting with anybody. Yeah. And I remember, like, watching back my audition the year I made it and being like, wow, my head's, like, all over the place. But... You know, it was a good thing. Yeah. I was looking at everybody. And I remember, like, moments you can see on my face when my face lights up a little more because I made eye contact with somebody. Awesome. Yeah. So that was definitely part of it. Because, I mean, that's part of, like you were saying, part of being at the game. Like, you're connecting with fans that are in front of you and stuff while you're performing.
See? Yeah. I remember one year, though, it was the year I didn't make it. I was trying to get one of the judges to smile at me so bad. Like, I probably looked psychotic, but I was like, smile at me, and she wouldn't. And so, like, I knew in my soul, I was like, I didn't make it, because that one judge wouldn't smile at me. Like, why would you smile at me?
If I'm smiling at you, I expect you to kind of smile back.
Totally.
Yeah.
Screw that judge.
I know, right? But what do they know? A pretty epic first season, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, my rookie season was Super Bowl 48. It was crazy. Like, the whole season, I mean, we won every game at home.
Yeah.
It was
amazing. Those days.
No, it was crazy. Because, I mean, I love my Cougs so much, but we were really not great when I was cheering for them. So it was, you know, mostly losing games.
Yeah.
So I was really used to that.
Team, finally.
To go from that to all of a sudden, like, winning every game and suddenly being Super Bowl contenders, it was crazy.
It was an insane year.
Who did you guys play when I should know all this, but I was such a hater. Who did you guys play to go, like, that
The
determines?
Niners.
Really?
The 49ers.
Oh, that's such a good game.
It was because we're such big rivals. We were such huge rivals because we were both really good that year. Yeah.
That's so good.
So crazy to have your rookie year. Was that the
thunderstorm game too, or was that a different game?
Well, that's what. So I talked about that, and I don't.
See, I told you I wasn't there.
I feel like it was the thunderstorm game.
Freaking! Did you get to go inside?
We did. See, I got to go inside. I got to go inside.
We were stuck in a goddamn
I don't remember what corner I was in, but
that was such a frustration. Coming back to that locker room and seeing you guys, like, all glamorous while we look like wet dogs was like, I hate you all. I hate you all.
Because it was a while. Yeah. We were in there for a while.
It sucked being stuck out. But yeah, that was an electric, crazy year. To have that as your rookie year, like, did you? Like, aside
it was
from the
hard
win,
because it set the bar so high. Like, when we went back to the Super Bowl the next year and we didn't win, I was like, oh.
Yeah, tell me about it. That was my year back. So depressing.
But you know, it was a really amazing way to start off the year, the career of a Seagal, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So you also had, because we're talking Super Bowl,
yeah,
and I don't think we've ever, like, quizzed the crap out of you to get the whole story from the beginning to the end. So no pressure, but we want you to break down the epic moment that happened at the Super Bowl. Not only do we win,
yes,
but what happened, Lynn?
What happened?
Yeah, you get some backstory, like,
yes, just give us everything.
So, I guess what happened was the day of. I found out, like, last minute that my boyfriend was flying to the game. He kind of just, like, told me really last minute that he was coming to the game. And there's this tiny little part of me that's like, oh my gosh, like, is he going to propose to me at halftime?
Oh, you thought that?
I thought he was going to, like, get on stage with Bruno Mars.
Heck yeah.
I didn't know how it worked.
Right?
So I was like, oh my gosh,
Daydreaming.
He might propose to me at halftime. And then, you know, halftime comes and we're shoot into the locker room. And
I know. Okay, so we did not get to, like, be out there.
We didn't get to watch the halftime performance.
I made sure to ask the next year. I was like, we get to watch halftime, right? She was like, okay. So we totally saw Lenny Kravitz.
So we could have?
I don't know.
Oh my God. I thought that it was like
they shoot us into that locker room.
Okay.
Yeah, they shoot us into the locker room. I don't think the Broncos cheerleaders were out there either.
They better not have been.
Bruno maybe had a request.
But I remember, like, being a little disappointed. I mean, I was obviously thinking about how great the team was doing at that point.
So did you know that he was going to propose just in general? Like, did you have a feeling? Did you guys talk about it before?
I had like a weird feeling. We hadn't talked about it much.
Okay.
I had a weird feeling because like a bunch of weird little things had been happening on that trip. Like I remember when he dropped me off at the airport, he was like, I forgot to get you your birthday present before you left because my birthday was actually on Super Bowl.
See, so epic.
Right.
The most epic story ever.
And I like went into the airport and I like said something to some of the girls and I remember I saw a strange look happen between two of them and I was like,
Maybe
that was
they
weird.
know something.
That was weird, yeah. And then like after that, I don't remember.
It's a crazy week.
It was a really crazy week. And then he like, so he included me on this message between him and his mom that was kind of cryptic on accident. And it was talking about being at the game and how he was going to tell me he was here. And I was like, oh, something's happening. And so then he texted me and told me he was there, but then nothing happened, you know.
Oh, right.
And after halftime, I was like,
it's not happening.
You know, maybe it'll happen like when I get home.
And you guys were killing it, so you weren't even worried about the game.
No. As soon as like the game was over, I was like ecstatic.
Yeah.
And we were all hugging each other and crying, and we were all listening to
confetti. Did I say confetti?
confetti. Yeah, no, I wasn't thinking about it at all. I'd completely forgotten that he was even there. So no, like seriously,
Did you see him during the game?
No, he was like way up. In the 300s probably, but
and we're doing our like victory lap,
right?
Yeah,
so we were down on the field
partying
for
like a
forever.
full on.
I hate you guys.
I'm sorry.
No, but tell me, you were partying and having just so much fun.
We were down on the field because they were all giving their speeches. Like we were down there for a long time taking pictures.
Yeah,
we were probably on the field for like half an hour.
No joke.
And so then we started to like go around and high five the fans. All of a sudden there was like a little bottleneck in front of me, and some of the girls were like stopping, and they were like oh, and I was like, what's going on? And I see this man just like decked out in the Skittles outfit with face paint.
What do you mean Skittles outfit?
For people who are not Hawks fans, we gotta break down.
So Marshawn Lynch, when he was on our team, was always eating Skittles on the sideline. So that was like the big thing. The fans would like throw Skittles.
Oh, when he would score, they would throw it.
Yeah. So like during the playoffs, my boyfriend started to make this crazy outfit, like hot gluing. We had like bowls of Skittles lying around, and I was getting mad because I was like trying to get skinny for playoff games, and like we had candy in the house at all times, and he's like hot gluing this outfit together, and I was getting so irritated. Finally, you know, like after we found out we were going to the Super Bowl, he's still working on it. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, he's like, oh, I'll wear it to some party around town. I was like, you don't need to be working on this right now. Get these out of the house. I was actually kind of mean about it. And so then I see this outfit because I hadn't even seen it finished yet. I see this crazy outfit and this man like leaning over the railing, and he's like, where's Lindsey? Where's Lindsey? And he has this tiny little box in his hand.
Oh, goosebumps.
Okay. And like honestly, he didn't even open the box. I started bawling.
Oh, I was like, did you snatch it out of his hands? Like, thanks, babe.
Okay. No, I like didn't even like stop to look and make sure it wasn't like earrings or a necklace or something.
You would do that.
I started bawling, and then he like opens it. He's like, "Will you marry me?"
And I'm all over the railing,
it's like
right?
I'm like 5 feet below him, probably
because it's this huge.
Because it's a long
drop.
drop. Yeah. So I was like quite a ways below him, and I'm just looking up at it, and I'm like, yeah. And so then like thank God one of the girls like steps in and like takes some action. She's like, "Do you want a boost so you can give him a kiss?" And I was like,
"Yeah." Who did that?
Stephanie RH.
Oh my that is so
She
sweet.
boosted me up. I was like, thank goodness, because I was just standing there like a chicken with my head cut off. I had
what
no
are you
idea
supposed
what
to
was
do?
going on.
Yeah. Again, you're always on, you know, it was always told don't obviously like give kisses to your man.
Yeah.
Like,
so I mean that all went out the window. Like she boosted me up.
Good.
We kissed, and luckily our choreographer was there, and she snapped some pictures on her phone. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had any pictures.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So she sent me those pictures. I just got a couple, but they're amazing.
That is so.
Yeah.
dope.
And then I like come away. There's a couple pictures of me with like face paint on my chin.
Who gives a shit?
I know. I was like, and I was just bawling.
So
but
then, yeah, you have to go back inside. What happened? Was all the girls like
all the
squealing?
girls were freaking out.
Oh,
like,
that's so cool.
It was crazy.
Good job, Devin.
I totally thought that like our coach was in on it, and she wasn't at all. Like she had no idea it was going to happen. But yeah, that was just.
And you actually were asked to kind of keep it quiet.
Yeah.
For a few years. So this is like your first
I
revealing
never-
story.
I never really got to like
behind the Poms.
openly
And
talk
why
about
is that?
it.
We have our episode new rules. Anything around social media, because you were a cheerleader at the time.
I couldn't share.
And then you couldn't share. She couldn't share it on her personal. So imagine, you get it proposed, you're engaged, and you're trying to spread the word. It's such an awesome, amazing moment.
Yeah.
And you can't even
I know, it was hard.
But you couldn't post it on your
I couldn't post it on my Seagull page because you're not supposed to share personal information. And so, the pictures I had were of us kissing. I get that. But then I also had a picture, King 5 was there. And they grabbed a picture of me with my ring and the girls around me. And I was like, I really want to share it. So I did reach out and ask if I could share it. And I definitely got a hard no.
Oh, wow.
So I had to keep it quiet. And that was
Do you have that photo?
I do have the picture.
Okay, I want to see. I don't think I've seen that one.
Yeah, no, I posted that one maybe a year ago. So I've only just gotten around to posting these after I'd been off the team.
Yeah. And it's all after the fact.
And so, yeah, I mean, everybody was over the moon and excited, but I definitely was not allowed to.
But it's just a little frustrating when you see all these videos of these girls getting proposed to on the field or something. Right. And you're like, that is so cool. It could probably totally blow up and then every game there's a proposal, but it's a little, I
mean, for all of that work that Devin put into the proposal and the expense of getting to New York for the freaking Super Bowl.
Oh, he was in and out in the same day. I mean,
oh my gosh.
It almost didn't happen because we were on the field for so long. He had to catch his bus. He left. He actually, so this is part of the story I didn't say. He, went down to the front and was waiting, and finally he was like, I need to get back to the airport. So he left the stadium, almost got all the way back to his bus, and he's like, I'm going to try one more time. So he turned back around. They let him back in.
That's insane. That would, never happen.
Yeah, it was crazy because he full-on left the stadium because he thought he was going to miss his flight, and then, but no, he was able to get back in and come down, and, somehow he was on the side of the field that we were high-fiving.
Right, because that was clear on the opposite side.
It was serendipity. It was crazy that it actually was able to happen. Because then, also if we hadn't won, he wouldn't have been able to get down there, and he wouldn't have wanted to do it at that moment.
So. The Skittles outfit for.
So yeah, it was all it was crazy. But I mean, all the girls were really, really supportive, and it was great.
Yeah. Why did my guy propose in the woods? Okay, no, I'm just kidding.
Because there's something special about
I'm totally being a
just
shithead.
the two of you.
Oh my gosh, that is such a cool story.
But not a lot of people can say that they were proposed to
at a winning Super Bowl on your freaking birthday,
rookie year,
Skittle suit,
dude.
Yeah, I know, it was my birthday.
So has life sucked since? I mean,
I know. I'm like, honey, you have a lot to live up to,
right?
No, it's been good. We've been married for a little over 3 years now.
That's so crazy. Your wedding was gorgeous.
Oh,
absolutely was. It was so fun.
But yeah, it was the craziest thing that's ever happened. So that definitely, when I say that first year set the bar high.
Right, I was about to say. So what influence, so you did 3 more years after that then. What would you say was just the greatest part of being a pro cheerleader and kind of the biggest challenge?
I think the greatest part was getting to professionally dance in that capacity, having that as my stage was amazing. I never would have pictured that for myself growing up. I was always so focused on the theater stage, but that was never something I saw myself doing, but I never knew how much I would love it until I did it. It was great. It was a good experience. And of course, the relationships that you form on the team. Right. I never expected that either. I knew I'd probably make friends, but I had no idea that I'd remain such close friends with you guys after the fact.
That's something that I wasn't counting on. Yeah. Especially when I joined. I wasn't the oldest at the time in my rookie year, but it was just kind of I didn't think of this as an extended family or that I would form bonds that are going to last well beyond the program, It's so crazy. I know. Because it's not something I was counting on. I wasn't sure. You get 30 some odd women together. Who knows how much you'll really like each other or not. And if it was just going to be flaky and superficial. But
no, you definitely form those. I mean, there's those people that you click with just really well. Our little pedestrian group.
People. But what was the most challenging part?
I think definitely the standards that we were held to, with weight and appearance. I would say I struggled with weight my first year. I was like you, Brittany, where I volunteered as a tribute to lose 5 pounds my rookie year.
Rookie year too?
Rookie year, because I was I would feel better if I was lighter. And so I struggled with
Which is so shocking to me because I feel you've always had a great figure, Honest. I mean, again, we're our own worst critics so much.
We all fluctuate fluctuate, and my body like wasn't naturally at that weight to begin with, and then I was trying to maintain that, and it was hard.
It's a
really
struggle.
Hard.
It's mentally, physically, everything's so hard.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, that was a huge challenge, and just like learning to balance everything, you know, like life, work, having a life outside of seagulls. Like it was tough. Yeah. But you get adjusted, and you get used to not being able to do anything.
Right? Not seeing anyone.
Not seeing anybody but your seagull family.
Right. So true.
Because that's how it gets sometimes in the thick of the season. Like you just are spread so thin. My friends would tell me, like, when you're in seagull mode, like you're just kind of like not available. Like we know that you're there for us, and like our friendship's intact and everything. But like,
good thing I loved hanging out with you guys so much.
Yeah, but no, that's a good point, because I've actually, this is like sad, I'm not going to go into it, but I've lost some friends because they weren't understanding like how much time. It wasn't that I was choosing to cheer over them. It's just like literally it's a huge time commitment. I'm not going to be able to drive an hour back home to hang out, you know. I got practice.
Yeah, I mean, I know that dynamic in the friendship's changing too, because I think because they would see me in pictures with all of my, you know, seagull friends, they're thinking, well, you have some free time and you're hanging out with them. And, you know, it got awkward because we were just conveniently always in each other's space or life. It could be like we're taking a picture because we're all eating together after a weigh-in.
Or put some Sally Hansen on my back. I can't reach.
Or you're going out to dinner for your first meal of the day after a game.
That kind of stuff. It wasn't like but you know, it definitely gets to be a lot to manage. So like this is the Where Are You Now episode. So like talk us through like what inspired you to retire. Like you did 4 years. A lot of girls will go for that 5th year. You get a stone in your ring.
I know.
It's like a booger.
That was hard to give that one up.
What was it about the timing? Like what went into your decision to retire?
I really had found that, you know, I was being held back in my career by continuing to do this. Like I was missing promotion opportunities and advancement, and I just wasn't really able to go further, you know,
think long term.
Yeah,
you know?
which like while I loved doing seagulls, it wasn't going to be my bread and butter. So I knew I kind of had to start making work a priority.
Got it. Okay.
And so that was one of the big driving reasons. But the other was just that like I have all these other passions and things that I want to do and care about that I had to put on the back burner. You know, you just don't have extra time to do anything else aside from working in seagulls. So
you're trying to go to Burning Man, huh?
And that was like during preseason, so
never can make it.
So many things. Oh gosh, I didn't even think about that. Like in terms of this
traveling,
that you are so restricted in terms of travel,
and even travel for work.
Yeah,
I remember I started a new job at the very end of my last year, and travel was a huge part of the job. And I had to have a conversation with our coach about potentially missing playoff practice. Like potentially, we hadn't even like made it to the playoffs yet, but I still had to have that conversation in advance. And even though it was for work, it was like a big deal.
Right.
Yeah,
I might have to miss.
Because didn't we go to Vegas? We piggybacked on your work trip. But it's kind of like, hey, so I might have something coming up and it's kind of like you have to choose this over work.
Yeah.
Always.
Oh, yeah. I mean, even though it's said in the rules, like, you could miss practice for work-related reasons, that was not kind of really the impression that I got when I was...
Well, you definitely feel like you're...
Letting the team down.
Yeah, letting the team down or being slightly spoiled.
And I didn't want to miss a playoff game, you know, like that was the last thing I wanted to do, but I just started a new job and they were asking me to travel, so I really didn't have a choice. Like I had to put my regular job first.
Right, because this doesn't pay our bills.
Yeah.
I mean, that was one thing that I wish in hindsight that we may, you know, could have touched on a little bit more with the Bitch Better Have My Money episode. Go listen if you haven't. It's just that, you know, really what that sacrifice is like in terms of having a job, especially... I mean, because I think they can understand the seagull's excuse and be happy about it and cool about it for so long, but then it becomes like where your work might feel inconvenienced or maybe other people are picking up some of the things that you're not available for or to do, or what that really means for you, where you're actually having to get work done after you get home from a late night practice because you left work early and there was still stuff that isn't done. So it's like, it's a commitment, and it definitely can potentially hold you back from certain opportunities because you just aren't able to invest that time.
Yeah, and I mean, I was still fairly fresh out of college when I joined, so I wasn't really established in my career yet. Right. So I was still trying to build this career and figure out what I wanted to do and where I wanted to work, and it was limiting. So, and that was fine. I chose that for a while, but at some point I was like, I have to pick, like I can only do this for so long. I have to kind of finally start being more serious about my career and my future.
And it sucks that we can't have both. Like, not to keep harping on money, but I think to a certain extent, if we were able to be paid more to balance out some of that kind of like pros and cons, if you're evaluating like what you're going to invest your time in, I mean, maybe it'd be a trade-off that's more worthwhile to make, because you are being compensated in a way where even if you're missing out on the promotion opportunity, this part-time job is actually helping you stack. It's like play money, but what if it was actually more substantial and you were able to save toward whatever your goals were, even though you aren't moving up in your job in terms of salary. But those are just some points that maybe people don't realize that we're actually having to deal with. Yeah. So you decided this was probably a good time.
Yeah. And I mean, it helped that like the majority of you guys retired we were at the same time as me.
Together. No one wanted to dance with me.
You were like one of the only ones that that was still continuing, so it made it easier because I had almost retired the year prior.
I remember that.
Yeah. It was like a last minute. I had weeks of auditions. FOMO.
Yeah,
I was one of those girls that was like, I'm not trying out, and then I show up.
I remember that. I can't miss out. I have FOMO, and I was like, what is that? Okay, get over there and dance.
So I had the worst FOMO, so I did it again. And I'm happy I did it that last year. But
you always killed it.
But yeah, I didn't let that happen a second time. Because then nobody believes you when you say you're done.
Right.
But no, I think it helped definitely that like other people were kind of done at the same time, because then I didn't feel like I was missing out quite as much.
Yeah, I missed you guys my last year for sure.
Yeah.
So.
I think it would definitely made a difference. Like if I had to get my 5th year that I was so adamant about getting, but it was without dancing with all of you guys,
it just wouldn't have been.
I would have been like, girl, you pushed it.
Yeah.
For me, just because like
Agreed.
It would have been so different. Yeah. So different.
Well, and something that I didn't touch on was it was also really strenuous on my relationships, like with Devin and with my family. Like I was missing so much, and I was never home. Like he and I never got to see each other, and he also got to see like the bad of everything, and I'd be upset after like a bad practice or a weigh-in, and he saw me like waffling back and forth between going back or not that second to last year or that last year, and so I had to kind of prioritize that too, like I didn't want to sacrifice my relationships with my family and my husband to keep doing this.
Yeah, you make such a good point about because when you're going through it, it feels like the best time of your life, obviously. And then you're really never expressing that joy because you're kind of living it, right? But the stuff that's like the not so sexy part and the part that's difficult and challenging, when you're complaining about it to everybody, people are like, well, why the hell do you do it then?
Yeah.
Like you can't eat Mhkeeba, like ever. Like why are, but it's just something that, it's just our way of coping, I think. I mean, we have each other. We all know that we know what it's like and we know that we appreciate the opportunity, but also what its challenges are. But, I think from the outside, everybody who cares about us is seeing us stressing the hell out, feeling down about ourselves for whatever reason. Yeah. And then they're just like, I hate this program. Like, when are you going to be done? I mean, maybe they're, they might
he was ready for me to be done long before I was ready to be done. And he was supportive of me doing it that last year. But I remember, like, there was, like, that one little moment, even though I knew I was traveling for work now, I couldn't do it again. There was still that little part of me that's like, maybe I can do it. Yeah. And, he was kind of that voice of reason. Back to her. He was like, you remember, like, what you've been putting yourself through, and you're overworked, and, you just don't have enough time, so you need to be done. Yeah. I was like, yeah, you're right.
Well, I always would every year talk to my kids, because I, 2 kids are 11, 13, but they were younger back then, but it was just kind of like, that was my, during the off season, when they have me around a hell of a lot more and I'm all up in their business, and we're able to do things like travel or spend way more time together. And so each time around auditions, where I always would get that itch, like literally 10 years I think total, based on the years that I auditioned and the years that it took to make the team. Like, it was just kind of like spring comes around and I'm like ready to go. Like, I'm like, get your body right, da 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 da. And so I always would feel it, but I mean, I had my goal in mind, but each year I would talk to my kids and just say, you kind of see I'm around more,
What do you guys think?
What do you guys think? And they just, I think at the right time, thank God we were synced up in our years of when I wanted to be done and when they were kind of over it. They were like, I think this is this year would be good. Like, how they said it.
I think you're done.
I think you're done here, Mom. Well, that because they're seeing me like showing up at their school, like literally where I would broker with the director, like, hey, they have a school event and I'm catching like that first half hour and then I got to bail to make it to practice. And so there were moments where where it was just kind of like this, I knew my kids understood, but they're probably like, okay, this kind of,
it's still hard.
Yeah.
You know,
totally hard.
They want their mom around, you know, it's hard. Yeah. There's a lot of sacrifices you have to make.
Yeah. So now that you are free, what have you been up to? Where are you now, Lindsey?
I seriously don't even know where all that extra time, like free time went. I still feel like very busy, but no, I've just been, I'm working now at Eddie Bauer corporate. Been there for like 8 months now. And I'm spending a lot more time sewing. I started an Etsy shop.
Okay, tell us about it.
It's called Dress to the Canines.
It's so cool.
And I'm just doing dog bandanas right now.
Okay.
But I would like to expand into like little Hawaiian shirts for dogs.
Oh my gosh, that is awesome.
Bow ties and, you know, all the works. I just think pets and clothes are the cutest things ever. Yeah. As you can tell, my pets are lying around here in their jerseys. They're little Seahawks.
I know, I've never seen a cat in a jersey. There it is.
It's a dog size.
Really, I believe it.
Fat, but...
Oh my gosh, she's so cute. Is she alive?
That's all she does all day.
Okay,
yeah.
so I'm just checking.
She sleeps all day. But yeah, so I've been, I launched that like late October, and
it's really cute stuff.
It's going well.
Check it out.
It's fun. I just, I always wanted to do something like that. And I could never go beyond making stuff for myself just because I couldn't be reliable with the time constraints.
Okay. So I was like, why don't you just...
I never made things for other people just because I didn't want to commit. Like, I'd had people ask me to help with Halloween costumes and such, and I just never...
Because your Halloween costumes are epic, too.
They are totally epic.
Dang.
It's like my favorite thing. I love making things, but yeah, that was definitely something that I just didn't have the time for. So now I'm kind of refocusing on that now that it's kind of taken the forefront.
Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, it's exciting.
Well, good for you. I mean, that's seriously exciting to, like, launch something. Do you feel like... I don't know, just a little shy about it, or were you just like,
definitely
this is what I've always been wanting to do?
I feel like I had been holding back, and I'd been using like Seagals as an excuse for so long because I was busy, and then all of a sudden, like when Seagals was over, I just launched this, and I've been done with Seagals for 1.5 years now. But I kept being like, oh well, then, I'm really busy right now. I have to wait. And I'm like, wait, what is holding me back now? Like I really don't have an excuse anymore. So I really had to kind of make myself vulnerable and put myself out there and try something, and it was
like we're doing with this podcast.
I know
it is a little scary though.
It is
right?
scary.
Totally.
But you just gotta do it. Really, anything you want to do, just do it. Start it.
Yeah, there's something different though about like putting yourself out there as a dancer, especially if you've been doing it for so long.
Right.
I don't know. I just have never been scared to do that, but when it comes to...
Do you get that question a lot where people are like, you dance in front of 1 million more people, like,
I
why
get
are
it,
you shy?
Anthony.
Or,
oh my gosh,
or like, why are you...
But then I can't I can't talk on camera to save my life.
Oh my gosh, I develop a lisp. They have a web weave the 49. That's like half my interviews.
I never did the interviews because I was so terrified. The worst part of auditions for me was the 30 seconds you have to answer that question in the microphone.
Oh gosh.
I hated it. I would perform all day. I would perform naked. And I would like not be worried about any of that. But like speaking in public was hard for me. So I mean, it's just putting yourself out there in different ways, I guess, is scary. And, putting my work out there that people hadn't really seen before. And, like, that's making yourself vulnerable in a different way.
Yeah, totally.
Well, it's been a learning curve for us, for sure, just with this podcast. And what do you think about, like, can you see this vision that we're trying to put out there of, like, cheerleaders being willing to share with each other? Because, I mean, we appreciate you sharing, and we have, like, obviously our friendship. But do you think it's realistic that girls might feel more open to sharing when your whole time, pretty much while you're on the team, is like, don't say anything?
Yeah, I think on the team it's hard because you want to speak up about things, but you want your spot back.
Right.
Yeah. Like I can't imagine that it's easy to come out and speak about things while you're still involved with the organization. But I mean, I would think, especially in like this day and age with the Me Too movement and all the lawsuits, like people are feeling more empowered to speak out and tell their story. And I think it'd be really cool if more people came on and shared.
I know, because we're like
share their experiences.
Yeah, email us, whatever.
Yeah. This is what is so beautiful to me about is just like being able to sit down with you and others and people from different teams and just kind of, and it's not to like bash anything, but just what's your experience like? Everybody's journey as a pro cheerleader is different. Yeah. Everybody has a different background, a motivation for becoming a cheerleader, and like what connected them to that passion for and why and for how long. And so I'm super stoked that you agreed to talk to us.
It was so fun.
Thank you so much.
Oh, I was so excited.
Well, we thought for Locker Talk, right, that we would have you give us your take on a few Locker Talk topics. Since you are a fan of the show.
Yes.
You have heard a few of our I can't even say it with a straight face. Our last Locker Talk, we're talking about protein farts. So feel free to join in on the convo, Lindsey. I mean, we touched on everything from uniform mishaps to like makeup trends or screwed up things that we did with our makeup before knowing what the hell we were doing. Favorite songs that we danced to or rules that you would change.
Yeah.
Give us what you got.
I remember uniform mishaps.
Oh,
there was one game where I'd forgotten to re-sew. I had pretty much had to re-sew that snap in the front of our top, like every game. Because, I'm a little bit chestier than some of the girls, and so there was a little more strain on it.
No, I had to, mine was safety pinned for most of my, like, one of the years.
Yeah.
I just had to safety pin it together because it was going to come undone.
Because it pops open.
Yeah.
So I remember there was one game, like, right before we performed a Touchdown City. And I just felt like something was off with my top. I had it on, and we were warming up, and I was like, I need to just, like, make sure it's not going to pop open. So I started doing like little chest pumps. And literally like on the second one, it burst open.
Oh, no.
I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And so I had to like borrow somebody's top for Touchdown City.
Because you have no time.
No, because we were going out there. So I had to like throw on someone else's top.
Oh my God.
Once we came back, I had to like frantically sew the snap back onto my top. But I'm just like, thank God, I had the mind to do that before going out there, because that would have happened, and my boobs would have been out.
Oh my gosh! So Touchdown City, for people who don't know, is like this huge stage. It's like part of like the convention center.
Right?
It's Walmart Theater, but it's basically like the fan exhibition area, like lots of sponsor booths and fans everywhere.
Stage.
And there's a stage that we perform on.
It's so slippery.
I hated that stage.
Yeah, it's like plastic, and you're wearing plastic, costume boots, and so the combined. Oh, it's so bad. You're skating around.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Thank God that did not happen.
Oh my God,
because that's almost worse than like. I mean, I don't know. It's not worse than a game, I guess, but it's just so like they're more in your face though. The fans,
right.
like
that
are
right
watching
there.
There's more people that are paying attention to you,
right? Because it's not at the game.
Yeah,
and there's and there's
there's
easy escape route to get to somewhere where you can get your life together.
Oh my God, no! Like I get PTSD just thinking about like what could have happened. So thank goodness. But like after that, I re-sewed that snap every single game, like triple sewed it down because I was so scared it was gonna happen. But yeah, I also caught my skirt a couple of times.
I was gonna say, did you ever trip or something? Okay, run out there and then fall.
Yeah, whenever we did those little like knee up kick things when we wore those skirts, I had it happen a couple times where it pulled my skirt down. There was one dance that we were performing in the end zone where at the very end we like did a leap to the ground and then we pop up, and I full on couldn't get up because my heel was stuck. So I was just like on the ground for the last move and everybody else was standing, and I like was trying to get my skirt off my heel so I could run off the field, and people like in the stands where I could see them, they're like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Oh my God." It was so embarrassing, but it happens.
It happens, right? You just gotta keep dancing or just stay on the ground until you.
At least it didn't come off, like at least I was just down there squatting like I was pooping or something. But yeah, that was pretty bad too.
Okay. Solo moment. It's cool.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, too funny.
Well, thank you for contributing to our Locker Talk.
Thank you, Lindsey, for joining us.
Tune in to our next episode. We have our episode called Swish Swish. We are interviewing an NBA cheerleader.
Yay!
So freaking excited. And you can hit us up on Instagram, Pro Cheerleading Podcast, and Twitter on Pro Cheer Podcast. We are everywhere. Facebook as well.
Yes.
Can't get rid of us.
I know, we're in your area.
Until next time, keep your eyes on the sidelines, baby.